Hello friends, welcome back to VOW DAYS. Welcome to the discussion of the mains test series. As you all know, we are discussing the second mains test and this is part 3 where we are going to discuss from question number 11 to question number 15. Right. So before we begin, a small information. All the details of the video is available in our Telegram channel. So this is how our Telegram channel looks. So just type VOW DAYS in Telegram. You will find a group with more than 10,000 members. So that is our group. So just join it and get the latest updates. If you have any query, you can leave your query in the comments. We will definitely get back to you. Right. So let's start with the 11th question. But before that, just one more small thing. See, the main intention of this videos is to ensure that you maintain a continuity. So you will have your own plan. Along with your own plan, if there can be something which can help you to remain consistent throughout the process, then it is going to add value. It is going to ensure that you increase your knowledge. Along with that, the knowledge, and also you will be able to practice a bit more. You will be able to push yourself a bit more. So this is what this program intends to do. Just for 1.5 hour per day, if you can just give your time for this thing, you will be in a great space. Right. Now let's quickly begin. So let's see the 11th question. So 11th question is on the continental drift theory of Alfred Wegener. Continental drift theory. So continental drift theory, as the name suggests, is about the movement of the Earth's continent relative to each other. Movement of Earth's continents relative to each other. And Wegener said that all continents formed a single continental mass named Pangaea, surrounded by mega ocean Panthalassa. 2,200 million years ago, the Pangaea began to split and it drifted. It broke into two large continental masses, Laurasia and Gondwana. So in fact, if you see briefly, what he was saying is that there used to be this huge continent. So all the continents were part of this. So eventually, 200 million years ago, this huge continent started to split. Initially, it split into two, Laurasia and Gondwana. Later on, it further split into smaller continents which are existing today. Are there any evidences for it? Yes, there are evidences. So whenever there is a question on this continental drift theory, you will write about this theory of Alfred Wegener, and also you will show the evidences. What are the evidences? First is jigsaw fit theory. Jigsaw fit. The shorelines of Africa, South America facing each other have a remarkable match. Similarly, when matched, Africa, Madagascar and India's east coast almost fit together. So this is the first thing. Next is the belt of ancient rocks. So there are a lot of ancient rocks which are about 2000 million years ago from the Brazil coast matches with that of the Western Africa. So the coastline is matching, and also the stones and the other things also are matching. The earliest marine deposits along the coastline of South America and Africa are of Jurassic age. The means that oceans did not exist prior to that time. There is glacial tillite in the Gondwana system of the sediments from India, and it resembles to 6 different landmasses of southern hemisphere, like Africa, Falkland Island, Madagascar, Antarctica and Australia. So the glacial tillites are found in all these places, and also the placer deposits are found in Ghana. So despite absolute absence of source in this region, but these placer deposits are found. They seem to have been derived from the Brazilian plateau when they were joined together. So this is another proof. Next is identical species of plants and animals which are adapted to the living on land or in fresh water and are found in either side of the marine barriers. Example, the skeletons of Mysosaurus. Okay, if you see two localities which are 4,800 kilometers apart within the ocean between them, there are a lot of species which are thousands of kilometers apart. So there is no reason for them to be found there, but the only reason can be the continents joined together. But there are certain criticism for Wegener. What is the criticism? The pole fleeing force and tidal force considered to be too weak to be able to move continents. The plate tectonics accommodated continental motion through seafloor splitting. There is considerable evidence that continents are part of lithospheric plates, and these plates move over asthenosphere and cause continents to drift. The new rocks is created by volcanism at the mid-ocean ridges and return to Earth's mantle at ocean trenches. Okay. So various things, these are the things about this continental drift theory. Now let's move on to the next question, the 12th question, which is on the tropical and temperate cyclones. So cyclones, if you see, they are caused by atmospheric disturbances around a low pressure area. They are accompanied by violent storms and bad weather. Air circulates inwards and anti-clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. So you might have known cyclones anti-clockwise in northern hemisphere. You can remember like NAC, north anti-clockwise. So this is the basic thing about the tropical cyclone. It will be reverse for the temperate ones. Okay, in the southern hemisphere it will be clockwise. So these tropical cyclones generally occur in the tropical regions 10 to 30 degrees north and south of equator, and temperate 35 to 65 degrees north and south of equator cyclones. What are the conditions favorable? If you see, there are various conditions which are favorable for this. First is large sea surface which provides moist air, help from clouds. 27 degrees centigrade plus temperature needed for tropical cyclone formation. Presence of Coriolis force is also necessary. Small variation in vertical wind speed, a pre-existing low or weak pressure area, upper divergence. So various conditions are needed for the formation of this tropical cyclone. So if you see the difference between tropical and temperate cyclone, origin, if you see, as the name suggests, tropical cyclones start in the tropical regions. So they have a thermal origin and derive its energy from the latent heat of condensation. But if you see temperate cyclones, they are dynamic in origin, involving Coriolis force and movement of air masses. The latitude, if you see, the tropical cyclones are confirmed to 10 to 30 degrees north and south of equator. The temperate cyclones are in the temperate regions 35 to 65 degrees north and south of equator. The formation, the tropical cyclones are formed only on the seas with temperature more than 26 to 27 degrees centigrade, and they dissipate on reaching the land. But the temperate cyclones can be formed both on land as well as sea. That is the major difference. This tropical cyclone size, it is very small, typically 100 to 500 kilometers in diameter. But these temperate cyclones are very large. They cover very large area, and they cover approximately 300 to 2000 kilometers in diameter. That means they are very huge. And also the wind velocity, if you see, they are much higher in tropical cyclones, much higher, 100 to 250 kilometers. But in the temperate region, they are very, you can say they are comparatively low, 30 to 150 kmph. The movement, if you see, they move from east to west, whereas the temperate cyclones move from west to east. From east to west, the tropical ones, whereas the temperate from west to east. And the frontal system, the fronts are not present. No, they are not present and get energy from warm and moist air of ocean. But whereas if you see this temperate cyclone, they have a clear frontal system and get energy from horizontal temperature contrast that exists in the atmosphere. If you see the influence of jet streams, the relationship between tropical cyclones and upper level of airflow is not very clear. But if you see in the temperate ones, it is distinct relationship, and with upper level of airflow so it is very clear. The jet streams, the Rossby waves, etc. And also the calm region for the tropical cyclone is nothing but the center, the eye. The wind is calm at the center with no rainfall, but there is no single piece where the rain and winds are inactive in the temperate cyclone. So this is about the tropical cyclone and temperate cyclone and their differences. Now let's move on to the 13th question, and this question is about jute industry. So jute industry, you can directly start your introduction with the statement that India is the world's biggest producer of jute, followed by Bangladesh. It is primarily grown in states like West Bengal, Odisha, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Andhra Pradesh. So this can be a standard introduction you can have for jute industry. So if you see the factors which are responsible for the location of jute industry in India, the first one is close proximity to jute producing areas. Example, in West Bengal, the jute mills are located along the banks of river Hooghly. The inexpensive water transport plus good network of railways, roadways, which facilitates movement of raw materials to mills. The presence of abundant water facilitates processing of raw jute. Example, Hooghly supplies adequate water for jute mills in West Bengal. The cheap labor from West Bengal and adjoining Bihar, Odisha and UP. Large urban center providing banking, insurance and port facilities for export of jute goods. Example, Kolkata. These are the various things. Next, the challenges faced by Indian jute industry. If you see, the jute industry in India is highly fragmented and it is dominated by unorganized sectors. This is one of the major challenges that we have currently. Also, most of the industries are very small and of medium size. So the unorganized sector is dominating in this, and this is not letting the industry to grow. It is not letting the industry to expand, because when the industries are small, when they are dominated by unorganized sector, the investments which are coming into this will be less. Next is unpredictable market. The weather and policies, all these things also play a major role, because whenever there is no proper rainfall or whenever there is no proper weather condition for the jute, then then the demand also, then according to the demand, they'll not be able to meet, and then there will be crash in the prices. All these things will be happening. So, and market also is very unpredictable. The increase and decrease of demands without any proper reason is also causing a lot of issues for the farmers, as we are seeing. Next is the tariff and non-tariff barriers by various countries, not only India, that are also existing. The lack of the FTAs, the preferential free trade agreements, and also stiff competition in international market, especially from the countries like Brazil, Bangladesh, Philippines, Egypt, Thailand, and also the presence of these alternate substitutes, the synthetic substitutes, is also these days becoming a major issue. Now, what are the other issues? Poor access to latest technology and low automation, social issues like child labor and personal safety norms, and also growing global concern for environment friendly biodegradable materials has again opened opportunity for jute products. The government of India approved 100% of food grains and 20% of sugar shall be mandatorily packed in jute bags. This is basically to incentivize and also to improve the condition of the jute industry and to ensure that there is standard demand in the sector. Okay, this is about the jute. So next question, the 14th question, is directly on the manufacturing industries of India. Manufacturing industries. So the manufacturing industry, if you see, it is a secondary sector. First thing. So in introduction, you can give some facts, you can give some data. So manufacturing industry, which is a secondary sector, contributes this much to GDP, and it helps in modernizing agriculture, provides employment. So like this, you can just start on a positive note, right? So then the factors affecting the location of manufacturing industry. See, the way you write answer in GS1 is different from GS3. In GS3, you will technically deal with the aspects of economy, how it is going to help the economy, how it is going to help different sectors, all these things. But here in GS1, when you are writing, let's say you are writing about manufacturing, so you have to write about the manufacturing from the geography point of view. You have to write like the factors affecting the location of manufacturing industry. Okay, so how manufacturing industry location will impact the other things. So like that you have to bring in. So here if you see the factors affecting the location of manufacturing industries using weight losing raw materials are in close proximity to so they have to be in close proximity to these raw materials. For example, most steel and iron industry are located near the coal fields like Bokaro, Durgapur, and near iron ore like Bhadravati, Bhilai, Rourkela. So like this. Next, heavy machinery and chemical industries tend to be located near high demand areas. Industries using non-weight losing raw materials such as cotton textiles, they are located near centers like Mumbai, Surat, Ahmedabad, traditionally because these are rich in these cotton mills. Okay, the petroleum refineries usually located along the coastlines, because generally what happens is that there should be easy import and export that should be happening for, especially these petroleum products. Because most of the petrol, if it's 95% we import from outside, more than 90% we import from outside. So when we import the raw or crude oil, we should be able to refine it well. So and also another thing is that we should be able to keep the cost at a minimal price. So for all of these things, the petroleum refineries, they have to be along the coast so that they can directly refine, they can easily refine the crude that they receive along the coast or through the ports. Next, also most manufacturing industries, they are located near urban centers where skilled labor is easily available. The power, if you see, this is another major factor. Power should be available for all the industries. So it is a life force behind industries, example iron, steel, cement, semiconductors, etc. As rail lines and highways expanded to interior locations, industries also shifted inwards from these areas. The government policies incentivize industries, example the cells, the national manufacturing industrial zones, the mega food parks, all these things. Historical factors, if you see, various industries were started at different locations by colonial governments and European traders, that also play a major role about the locations and all, right? And some of the major industrial locations, if you see, the Mumbai Pune region, so here the cotton textiles, petroleum, drugs, fertilizer, electricity, so electrical, the shipbuilding, electronics, software, all these things play a major role here. Next, Hooghly region. The Hooghly region is known for the jute industry, paper, engineering, textile machinery, the electrical fertilizers, petrochemicals, etc. Bangalore, Tamil Nadu region. Here, this is one of the most important industrial sector, the Bangalore, Tamil Nadu region. So here, various engineering goods, the rubber goods, medicines, sugar, cement, paper, etc. All these things are manufactured. The Gujarat region. Gujarat is one of the important region for India, especially in terms of this industrial output. It has access to ports, markets, and also historically it is known for these important industries like the gem cutting, etc., and even the refineries. Next, the Chota Nagpur region. The Chota Nagpur region is very rich in these. It is very rich in these fossil fuels. So the coal, iron ore, and other minerals. They facilitated heavy metallurgical, cement, power engineering goods, locomotives, and heavy industrial centers are set up. Next, the Visakhapatnam Guntur region. They developed agriculture and rich reserves of mineral and easy access to power. It facilitated development of shipbuilding, petroleum refinery, sugar, textile, jute, paper, etc. Next, the Gurugram Delhi Meerut region. So the light and market oriented industries like the electronics, cotton, woolen, and synthetic fabrics. So they are over there. Kollam Thiruvananthapuram region, the plantation, agriculture, and hydro facilities, industries using cotton textile, sugar, rubber, matchbox, chemical fertilizers, etc. They are part of this. Okay, so these are the things. Next, 15th question. This question is on the type of plate tectonics. Type of plate tectonics. So if you see Earth's lithosphere, it consists of crust, mantle, core, etc. And these are made up of various plates, various series of pieces of tectonic plates that move slowly over the time. These tectonic plates, they are massive irregular slabs of solid rocks. They are composed of continental and oceanic lithospheres. And if you see the different types of tectonic boundaries, there, as you all know, there are three important types: the convergent, the divergent, and transform. Right, so these three are there. So when two plates come together, it is called a convergent boundary. When two plates come together, it is called a convergent boundary. And if you see here, what happens is that one plate go beneath another plate, and there will be formation of these mountains and all mountain ranges. Example, Himalaya, you can say that is one kind of that is a type of formation that is formed because of the convergent plates of the Eurasian plate and the Indian plate. A chain of volcanoes is formed along parallel to these convergent boundaries, and powerful earthquakes are common here. The location where sinking of plate occurs is called subduction zone. At the convergent plate boundaries, oceanic crust is forced down into mantle where it melts. The magma rises into and through other plate, solidifying into granite, the rock that makes up the continents. Thus, at convergent boundaries, the continental crust is created and oceanic crust is destroyed. You have the Pacific Ring of Fire example, the convergent example of a convergent plate boundary, the Pacific Ring of Fire, right? So these are about convergent plates, and you have the divergent. So divergent plate. So yeah, before that, just see, whenever there is a question on these kind of things, write three separately: convergent, divergent, and transform. And in each type, or you can say in the convergent, you have to write various examples also, even in the divergent and in the transform. So the examples will play a major role, and also, if possible, draw a map showing the convergent, divergent, and transform. Just if you can show one example in the map, that will be sufficient. So divergent means two plates moving away. So here new crust is created. Whereas in the convergent, there will be no new crust that will be formed. New crust will not be formed. So the convergent is called as the destructive, and the divergent boundary is called constructive. So the site where plates move away from each other, so it's called spreading sites. Along the boundaries, earthquakes are common, and magma rises from Earth's mantle to surface, solidifying to create new oceanic crust. Example, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. There will be transform boundaries where two plates sliding past each other. That happens. The rocks that line boundary are pulverized plates grind along, creating a linear fault valley and undersea canyon. They are natural or human man-made structures that cross a transform boundary and are offset, split into pieces and carried in opposite directions. The earthquakes are common along these fault lines. In contrast to a convergent and V boundaries, the crust is cracked at transform margins but not created or destroyed. Example, the San Andreas Fault Zone, which extends underwater. So these are the various things. So in the convergent, you will write about these the basic definition, and basic definition you will write about the examples like Himalayas, right? You'll also write about this chain of volcanoes that are formed along parallel to these boundaries. So here also you can write examples. You can write the Pacific Ring of Fire, right? And it is called a destructive plate. All these things you can write. And next one, the divergent what you are writing. So divergent, the mid-Atlantic ridge. It is called the here new crust is created. So it's constructive. The sites where plates move away from each other. So with the spreading sites, all these things you can write. Next you have the transform boundaries. Transform boundaries means the plates slide past each other. The rocks that this line bound are pulverized as plate grind along, creating a linear fault valley under the undersea canyon. So earthquakes are very common along these faults. And in contrast to the convergent and V boundaries, they lack transform margins. Example is San Andreas fault zone. And also, if possible, if you can just draw these lines, just draw these figures along with the map. So for these kind of things, if you can draw a just map and show the Pacific Ring of Fire, if you can show the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the San Andreas fault zone, so if you can just show this, so that will fetch you that extra half mark. So that means you have to practice your answers in such a way that even diagrams, as I said, even diagrams also you have to practice. You have to practice in a very fast way. You should be able to draw the world map and you should label it in maybe 30-40 seconds. Like that you will have to practice. Okay. There is no need of this precision, but if you can draw these things roughly, that will be sufficient. Okay. So these are the 5 questions for the day. I'll see you again tomorrow with 5 more questions. Till then, keep studying and stay tuned. Jai Hind.